Okay.
Okay, everyone, we are live now on YouTube. Welcome to the Artist Talk today. This day is the second festival day of VRHAM Virtual, and this is dedicated to you artists, to all of you in this room. And we have very different panels and keynotes. We already had an artist talk before today, and now we have something very beautiful. We're going to have a talk about works that are presented in another room, about 360 works, and I will tell you a little more about this in a second. This whole day is presented by Nordmetallstiftung, a foundation here in Hamburg, and they were so incredibly supportive with this whole idea, with this crazy idea that we actually had, and they said, this is great, and we really want to make the best out of it, and we support you in this. So I'm very grateful that we can do all of this here. So guys, how are you? Are you good?
Good. We are good. We are ready.
We are fine. Thank you, Ulrich.
Thank you so much for being here. So the idea we originally had like a month ago was to make an academy here in Hamburg, a VRHAM academy. We wanted to invite a lot of students, emerging artists to Hamburg, so they get to know each other, they get to know other creators, they would have mentoring and see a lot of things, also other institutions here in Hamburg. And we already submitted an open call, and a lot of people applied for this, and then the Corona crisis hit us. So we thought we're going to do this virtually. And I'm really, really happy that now Cenk is with me. Cenk is professor at the Institute of Experimental Architecture at the University of Innsbruck. And Anna is one of the students. And they have made very, very beautiful and powerful pieces. It's 6 artworks. And these artworks are showcased, if you want to check them out later, in a room called Kaleidoscope First Look. So if you go to the map, you just jump to the auditorium and a few stairs down, and you see all of them there. If you have any trouble finding it, ask our wonderful VRHAM guides. They're going to help you. So, guys, so beautiful to have you here. Please, Cenk, can you tell a little about the university and what your background is?
Of course. First of all, thank you so much, Ulrich, for giving us this chance to present our work here. Thank you so much. It's a great organization. We are super immense.
Oh, thank you so much.
My name is Cenk Güzeliş. I'm an architect, researcher, and a teaching member of Studio 3 Experimental Architecture Institute. Together with Anna, today we will be presenting 6 of the virtual reality experiences that we have designed during the virtual reality seminar at the Studio 3 at our institute previous semester. So we are dealing, if you want, I can kind of tell a couple of sentences about the profile of the institute. Yeah?
Yes, please. That'd be great.
Yeah, exactly. So the Institute of Experimental Architecture, Studio 3, as you can hear from the name, it's an experimental institute of architecture. So we are experimenting in the field of architecture, meaning that I can tell you a bit more about the annual theme of this year, which is called I Have Never Seen You Like This Before, which is dealing with post-human criticism questions. So what we are trying to do is that we are trying to open up some new doors to undiscovered design approaches in architectural practice and in architectural education. Exactly. So to do that, we are asking ourselves, like, what is it to be human in this age? And what is the matter that is considered as human? And we are trying to kind of displace the notion of human as the measure of all the things and try to kind of allow other species to come and develop into architecture. That is what we have been trying to do by using new media and digital technology in our institute.
That's amazing. So, you're an architect. So, what is your background?
My background is I was studying before at the Academy of Fine Arts in Vienna. So there I was like dealing or doing short animation films. Then I started doing interactive architecture films. And so my background is more or less like dealing with this new media inside the architectural education and architectural practice, and which I love a lot, I have to say.
I think this is so interesting because I've been talking to a few artists earlier, like everyone has a different background. And this is, I think, what's so powerful about virtual reality art, because there are people coming more from a directing background. They are filmmakers.
Exactly.
I see a lot of the choreographers, and I find it super interesting that you say you come from the space. And I think this is so different in virtual reality. We're inside the space and we're inside the artwork.
Absolutely.
And to see that you're thinking about this differently from a spatial perspective, this is really, really exciting. Anna, can you tell us a little about you? You're one of the students in the group. Tell us a little about your background, please.
Yeah, thank you, Ulrich. I'm a student at Studio 3 as a master student of architecture. And as Cenk explained, we are trying to deal with the perception of spaces from different point of view, losing from what is the anthropocentric sensorium and trying to be able to perceive the body and his actions and reactions inside of the architectural space from different perspectives.
Wow, very nice. And when did you start with the project?
Yes, let's start.
Oh no, when did we start?
When did you start the
exactly.
project?
So it was the previous semester, and together with Uwe Brunner, I was teaching the virtual reality seminar. I can tell you more about that actually. It's called 52 Hertz, Weird Intermediate Beings. And the aim is to kind of simulate animal visions to perceive built environment. So as we said that we have been dealing with this post-human approach, and this seminar kind of gave us the opportunity to different non-human entity visions and to kind of embody them. Right.
Okay, great.
And so in order to start with that, what we have done is that we have divided the groups into smaller groups, and we all have LiDAR scans. So we have used the LiDAR scan technology to scan certain sites in Innsbruck. Alongside with that, we started choosing specific animals in order to research on their vision and on their bodily behavior. So we have started, on the one hand, constructing or digitizing the physical space and getting it to virtual. On the other hand, we started researching and simulating on animal visions, which we could interact with or interface with.
I will
continue, please.
Please, guys, check these works out. They're really, really beautiful, and they give you a very different perspective. I think we're just going to have a look into this very different pieces. We have pictures of all of these. Anna and Cenk, maybe you tell a little about the different videos.
Yes, this experience, which is called counterfactual mythology, is actually a hybrid experience because it stays at the intersection between the virtual space and the physical space. It's meant to be explored by two users at the same time. One of them is a chameleon. As you all know, probably chameleons can perceive two distinguished three-dimensional images at the same time in their brains. So what we tried to do was actually give to the two controllers two cameras, two distinguished cameras, which are rendering different content which are overlapping in your brain. And this was very interesting. It was very interesting to see how your sense of embodiment in VR is changing if you lose your equilibrium sense. And this experience is...
I'm just gonna show 1 second. So this is the second experience, right? Paradox?
Exactly.
This is the second experience?
Right. This is an experience that is taking place at the sewage plant of Innsbruck. It's like a smelly and grotesque place in Innsbruck where nobody wants to visit, nobody. We have scanned this environment, and then the colleagues, the student friends of mine, came up with a fantastic storyboard. It's about two protagonists, snail and the bird, which are being constantly being infected with a parasite.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's have a look at the next.
Right.
This is the experience about being a clownfish, because clownfishes are able to see colors that we cannot even imagine. Their world is super colorful and super alive, and this is exactly what this experience is about, discovering this colorful underwater world.
Right, it looks already very, very beautiful. And now?
And this is the Submerge. Submerge is a parafictional VR experience investigating on the consequences of environmental pollution and overpopulation in a speculative future where humans have to live in longer attitudes. So it's kind of like a underwater sea because the cities are kind of flooded, and you have to go through artifacts of the economy of the human and so on to find out what is human artifact.
And here we deal differently with the space again. This is
exactly,
and this is the forbidden
This
feature.
is the last one.
Yes.
Which is an experience through the eyes of a python. Snakes can perceive only two colors, green and blue, but their senses are developed in different ways. They can perceive the spatial infrared image of their prey. So this is what this experience is about.
Great, great. And there's one more even. So it's 6 pieces, unexpected observer.
Exactly. This is the last one. It is taking place in one of the most historical and oldest buildings of Innsbruck, the Hofkirche, a church.
Yeah.
Seeing through the eye. Exactly. It's fantastic because you can suddenly inhabit all these ornaments and frescoes and sculptures in different points of view. And it is kind of like working like a documentation because you can interact with the sculptures and the ornaments and the paintings that tells you the historical story of that place.
Cool. So guys, what I think it would be very interesting to hear, how does it feel for you to be showcased in a virtual festival? I mean, this is very different, and we all know it's the first time. What changed for you? What would have been different if you were actually in the physical space here with us in Hamburg? And how does it feel? How does it make you feel as artists? So,
exactly. Yeah. Should I go, Anna, or should I answer? Go for it.
I think from our point of view, it was very interesting because we were all planning on doing these experiences in the physical space, and we had to adapt during these times of crisis and transform them into a 360 video, which was a beautiful challenge. It changes the perspective again on our works.
But also from the architecture point of view, like, you know, the physical spaces in time of crisis and isolation is shrinking. So it is our challenge as architects to kind of expand into virtual spaces, and it's also our role to be there as to kind of configure those speciality of the virtual dimension and to bring social and cultural value. So this is what we've been dealing in our institute, which is super important and new emerging.
Fantastic. Yeah, and I mean, you both coming from this spatial background, this architectural background. How do you feel about this venue? What does it do, you think, to the artworks and to the way you actually perceive these works and experiences?
You know, I was quite sad that I wouldn't be able to come to Hamburg, but here I am now. This is great.
Virtually.
Exactly, and it feels so good to take place here, and also like it's really well constructed in terms of 3D design of it. I don't know. I can navigate so good. I cannot. I don't know. It's perfect.
I'm glad to hear. And this is, I said it. I mean, we are all over the world. I mean, I see people here from Canada. I see people from another person from Hamburg is here, but he's not in the same space as me. We talked earlier. People from the US are here. This is really, really new and really exciting.
Absolutely.
And guys, I would just want to open to questions. If you have any questions to Cenk and Anna, feel free to come forward. Otherwise, we're going to be here for a while. We're going to stick around, and we are open to talk. And please, please come forward if you have any questions. It's the normal silence, I know.
Classic. Classic. But okay,
leave it here.
We will be here. We will be hanging out here. So if you guys have any questions, we can talk and exchange. That would be amazing.
And this is the idea of the festival, to talk about the artworks, to get to know each other, to roam the streets in this virtual exhibition. Thank you so much for making the time to come here virtually to our Hamburg venue. And thank you all our visitors, and see you all very soon. Check out the beautiful experiences.
Let's take a picture, Ulrich.
Bye-bye, see you.